Today I have the author of a romantic comedy called Made in Singapore, which is set in Singapore and is about a young Philippines woman that escapes the sleazy world of the entertainment circuit to become a maid. Let's welcome Michael H. Chua. How are you today, Michael?
I'm good, thank you for having me.
Michael, tell me, what does it mean to be a maid in Singapore?
In Singapore, the maids live with you in your household 24/7, and you house them, feed them, and they do your housework. It's very unlike in Western developed countries where the maid comes to your house during working hours and leave after the day's work.
What would a maid be expected to do within the home?
General household chores, cleaning, cooking, washing laundry, ironing, sometimes gardening, cleaning up your car, and taking care of your children, sometimes elderly folks.
Made in Singapore, what's the actual story about?
It's about this impoverished Filipina who thought that she was getting into a job as a singer in Singapore under an entertainment visa. But usually, if you are in for an entertainment visa, it just means that you are going to be just sucked into a sleazy entertainment circuit. And that she discovered in the plane with a more mature lady. And when she got down to the airport, she just ran away from the receiving agent, camouflaged herself among a group of maids, and then became a maid. So while she was a maid, she worked herself secretly to become an online celebrity and influencer, and she succeeded. At the same time, keeping her identity as a maid a secret.
So you mentioned that maids live with their employers 24/7. What kind of issues result from that?
Common issues are not being able to understand instructions because most of them don't speak English as a first language. A lot of them are not highly educated. Other complaints are like they use too much water, too much soap, or not ironing the clothes clean enough, or not washing the car clean enough, or not being able to handle the tantrums of the children or the old folks.
And do the maids have any issues living with their employers?
Yeah, sometimes the maids are not used to the food that the family eats. For instance, there could be families that are vegetarian, and the maid cannot tolerate eating only vegetables every day. It could be homesickness. They could be homesick, and other behavioral problems arises from that.
So you mentioned she escapes from the sleazy entertainment circuit in Singapore. Can you tell us about that?
Basically, working in pubs and clubs to entertain men.
And what does that really involve?
Oh, well, you want to go into the gritty details? Yeah, that means keeping them happy. The men are happy, getting them to pay their drinks at inflated prices, following them home for that night.
Okay, what inspired you to write the novel?
Most people think of maids as just invisible beings cleaning up their homes magically, and they don't really think of them as human beings, really. I am different from them. I feel these maids are human beings, particularly when I met some of them who are very inspiring. For instance, there is a maid who was in Singapore, and her weekends were spent taking Instagrammable photos in Singapore in places of interest, put them on Instagram, and then getting followers. She's well spoken, good English, and she has followers on Instagram. And she has also started a YouTube channel to teach people yoga. Yeah, I think she is now a financial planner back in the Philippines. The second one is somebody who came to Singapore with the expectation of getting into the F&B industry, but she didn't get that job. She ended up as a maid, and she took up photography as a hobby and became very good at it. She won awards in competition, and now she has a huge following on Instagram. She's like an online celebrity now. The third maid I was very inspired by was a maid that after 2 years she went back to Sri Lanka and became a businesswoman selling tea leaves, exporting them out of the country.
What or who do you expect your audience to be?
Maids, employer of maids, maid agencies, influencers, companies that hire influencers, influencer wannabes, families of maids, and people in countries that uses maid quite a lot.
So you also have a romantic interest here with a security guard influence, based on a real person?
Yes, this security guard that I got the character from actually worked in the place I live. He dated a maid on a Sunday, I suppose several Sundays, and he got found out and he was fired from his job. I thought that was really unfair, so I wanted to highlight something like this in a story.
The novel is a romantic comedy, yet the issue is a social, realistic type of documentary. Why have you written it as a romantic comedy?
Well, it's better to laugh than to cry. And if you are going to drill down to the detail of some of these stories from the maids, it can be quite sad. I mean, they come from really impoverished families and their daily life is often a struggle. So instead of going into that, I'll rather make it in a light-hearted way.
Are you trying to be a social champion of the foreign domestic worker rights in Singapore?
Well, that's one way of looking at it. But really, I think what motivates me to write the story is just an interest in their lives, really, and get more people to understand how these maids are.
Do you think you will make a movie from this story?
Definitely, we are going to make a movie. We have already shot the video trailer using some real-life maids. We have also started talking to some Filipino actors to see potentially casting them in the movie.
Have you had any conversations with investors from the film industry?
Yes, we have. A lot of them is also looking at who we are able to cast and how well the book will do. So far, the book has been doing well.
The talks about the film, have they been positive?
I think the idea of a story told from the maid's perspective as a romantic comedy is new. So I think any new idea would be interesting to investors.
I'm very interested in finding out how much does it actually take investment-wise to make a film?
Well, how long is a piece of string? It can cost a lot of money. It can cost very little money on a shoestring budget. Obviously, on a shoestring budget, life will be rough. It also depends on who we cast. If we're going to cast A-list actors, they can be very expensive.
Tell me, how would somebody get hold of a copy of your book?
Okay, they can go to a Facebook group called Made in Singapore. Over there, there'll be instructions. You can enter your order in an online form and pay through PayPal, and it'll be delivered to you.
Excellent. And can people find you on a website?
Yes, they can find me in my blog called Michael-Chua, C-H-U-A, .blogspot.com.
Anything you'd like to tell us about the novel, Michael?
Life in this internet world now is getting a bit surreal. What you see on social media and all that may or may not be real. So I think a lot of people get carried away with social media. My advice is that stick to the basics, love people around you, and be sincere.
Michael H. Chua, thank you very much, and good luck with your book.
Thank you so much.